This area consisted of dense jungles and was home to elephants, black leopards, rhinoceroses, and wolves. But it was also home to 10 monasteries and over 4,000 monks. I then visited the kingdom of Gauhati. Here I was surprised to learn that it would take only 2 months to reach the border of Sichuanlu in China from here. But the route was treacherous owing to poisonous vapors and demons. The people of Gauhati valued jackfruit and grew these in abundance. The king Kumara was a Brahmin but treated both Buddhist monks and Brahmins with reverence. The people told me that the 6 kingdoms lay to the east of Gauhati. On my way south, I stopped at the port of Tamralipti, from where Faxian had embarked on the journey back to Sina. The people here informed me that there was an island at the southernmost tip of Yindu called Simhala. It was the land where Mahendra, the son of Emperor Ashok, had brought Buddhism. It was said to have a temple built over a tooth of the Buddha, and I was very keen to see it. It was possible to go to Simhala by sea from Tamralipti, but terrible weather and strong sea currents made it a hazardous journey. Instead, I was advised to follow the land route to the southernmost part of Yindu and then cross the rocky strip which separated Simhala from Yindu. I took this advice and traveled south to the kingdom of Udra. At the great seaport, I imagined I could see the twinkling lights of the temple at Simhala, but I was probably mistaken because it was thousands of miles away. In Udra, I came across Pushpagiri, a monastery that contained one of the oldest stupas built by Emperor Ashok. I then trekked through South Kosala, the home of Nagarjuna, the founder of the Madhyamika school, which espoused the philosophy of the middle path between existence and non-existence. The king here was a Kshatriya by birth but Buddhist by faith. His official patronage was reflected in the 100 monasteries that dotted the kingdom and were home to 10,000 monks. I now headed to Andhra Pradesh, which lay between the two mighties. This was the home of Dignaga, the author of the treatise on logic that I had studied in Kashmira. I then went on to Dhanakataka, but the monasteries here were mostly deserted. Only around 20 were still in use, and I spent the better part of a rainy season with the monks who lived in these, 3,000 or so in number. I also took the time to visit the great stupa nearby, which was known for its exquisite vihara carvings. I proceeded to Dravida, from where I made for Kansi, the capital of the Pallavas and a strong hub of Buddhism. Kansi seemed to be at the very height of its glory. Hundreds of Mahayana viharas and over 10,000 monks thrived in addition to hundreds of Deva temples. Among the wonders of Kansi was a 100-foot-high stupa built by Emperor Ashok. The people of Kansi were courageous. They held dear the principles of honesty and truth. Most of them had a reverence for learning. The city was also home to many non-Buddhists, but Buddhism did not seem to have declined in any way. There was a specific reason behind my desire to visit Kansi. The treasure chest I had unearthed with the monks of Kiapishi had borne a sword that was engraved with the word Kangzi. I had assumed that it referred to Gandhara, the fragrant land. It was Vajra who suggested that the hostage prince might have been referring to Kansi, which was known as a city of flowers and incense. Certainly, the similarity in sound was remarkable. I knew that many of the learnings of the monks at Shaolin came from the great practitioner Bodhidharma, who was said to have been a prince of Kansi. My instincts told me that my position of Disan Suochuan would be secured only through my actions at Kansi. I reached Kansi and was soon granted an audience with the great Pallava emperor Narasimhavarman. The king occupied a grand palace entirely made of wood and brick, unlike the Pallava temples which were made of stone. I walked through a central corridor that was flanked by massive wooden pillars that had carved lions, the Pallava insignia, at their base. Up ahead, the king sat on a low wooden throne, bedecked in exquisite jewelry. From his ears hung cylindrical kundalas, and diagonally across his chest was a thick golden band encrusted with precious stones. On his head was a narrow crown that was embellished with jewels and fresh flowers. There were jewels all over his body too, on his necklace, armlets, wristlets, and girdle. He wore a long silken sash wound around the waist with a semicircular loop in front. He radiated positive energy and dynamism.